Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about Eisenhower, the Eisenhower, and some images that came in, along with some questions, and just kind of talk about some stuff that's going on social media about this particular ship. And just kind of run through everything and then talk about why it is important to err on the side of caution when it comes to this kind of speculation. If you missed it, all over social media, there are claims that the Eisenhower, the U.S. carrier, was hit by the Houthis and that it caused either significant or critical damage to the carrier. So, the images that have come in, one is, it's a video of sorts, and I have to admit, at first glance, I was like, whoa, and I had to watch it a second time. Pretty sure that's from a video game. That does not appear to be real. The next one is, it appears to be a satellite photo, and the caption says that it is the Eisenhower docked in Saudi Arabia under repairs. And the one thing that struck me about that image was how great American construction techniques must be. Because Saudi Arabia is hiring U.S. construction firms to build their ports. Because that looks exactly like Norfolk. That's Norfolk. The damage appears to be photoshopped or another image overlaid. And then the last one, I'm fairly certain this was a joke that spread outside of its intended audience, much like the turret springs thing with the tanks. I don't know where this is, and I don't know what ship this is. I do know that it's not the Eisenhower. I am 99% certain that that is a Russian ship. That's it. Those are the images that have come in. So, could the Eisenhower have been hit? Sure. That could have happened. And if it did, the military might choose to not immediately disclose that. That's not out of the realm of possibility. Okay. Do I believe that's what occurred? No, I do not. Simply because I have been presented with exactly zero evidence that it happened. None. And Yemen isn't registering on the Richter scale. If a U.S. carrier sustains significant or critical damage, that would elicit a response, a big one. They would have forgotten the rule of don't touch our boats. And if you don't get the reference, there'll be a video down below explaining that meme from a foreign policy standpoint. If a U.S. carrier sustained real damage, a show of force would not be the response. It would be significant. Now, that is something to keep in mind. This speculation, those people spreading it, not really those people spreading it because they may not know, but what happens if it's believed? If it creates outrage? What happens if it's believed by somebody in Congress? We know that they are susceptible to disinformation on the internet. What happens if they buy it and they start calling for a response? When it is proven to be wrong, do you think they're going to stop calling for a response and admit that they were wrong? Or do you think, as they constantly have, they would double down and point to something else and say, you know what, but they did hit this, and they did hit this, and they did hit this. This is just proof that our response hasn't been strong enough. You're creating a pretext for war close to an election. An election that might be close. It's not a good idea. Understand, the U.S. is very sensitive about its boats. You might want to remember the Gulf of Tonkin, or remember the Maine. In the quest for engagement, or to, maybe it was intentional, to put out propaganda for the Houthi side. This is not what you're looking for. Because if it's believed, it is not going to create the response you want. When it comes to stuff like this, err on the side of caution. Don't make an immediate judgment, because if that outrage is generated, and if a politician who wants to seem tough on the international stage latches onto it, it could literally cost people. Err on the side of caution on this kind of stuff. It's also worth noting that the captain of the Eisenhower is active on social media. So I do not believe that there was significant or critical damage. There's nothing to suggest it was even hit. If it was probably pretty minor, going by the lack of a response that would be in line with American tradition on this one. Be careful about what you share. We've talked about it before. The average person today with a smartphone has the production capability of a news station in the 1960s and the means to disseminate that information. There's a lot of power that goes along with that. You can shape things for good or bad. Be careful. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.